Good morning, everybody. It's so good to see you all, and it's probably very exciting to see each other. Welcome to the Arts and Business Alliance of Eugene's Fall Brava Breakfast. It feels so good to be back in this Holt Center lobby, and I am really delighted to see all of your faces instead of staring into my computer screen. This morning, as you came in, we were listening to music by local musician Colin Vance. Colin plays over 30 instruments and records all of his music in his home studio right here in Eugene. If you loved his music, you can learn more at colinvancecreative.com. Now, before we dive too far into this morning's program, I would like to acknowledge that Eugene is located on the Kalapuya Alihi, the traditional indigenous homeland of the Kalapuya people. Following treaties between 1851 and 1855, the United States government dispossessed the Kalapuya people of their indigenous homeland and forcibly removed them to the Coast Reservation in Western Oregon. Today, descendants are citizens of the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde Community of Oregon and the Confederated Tribe of the Siletz Indians of Oregon. They continue to make wonderful and important contributions in their communities and across the land we now refer to as Oregon. My name is Kelly Johnson, and I have the distinct privilege of serving as Executive Director for the Arts and Business Alliance of Eugene. If you are a longtime Brava attendee, you might be noticing that we are missing the warm, welcoming voice of our beloved board member and MC, Fred Crafts. Fred is out of town this morning, but I'm gonna try my best to fill his enormous shoes. Whether this is your first Brava or your 15th, we could not be more honored that you chose to spend your Friday morning with us. And on behalf of our board of directors and our founding partners, welcome. We gather here on this rainy and cold fall morning to connect with one another and to be inspired. Today we're going to witness a really powerful performance, and collectively we're going to learn how we can help others recognize the power of arts and culture. To start things off this morning, we are excited to have with us Jen Bell on behalf of the Oregon Cultural Trust. She's going to tell us about a few ways that you can support arts and culture throughout the state, and one that has a little bit of Eugene flair. Please help me welcome Jen Bell.
Good morning. How is everyone this morning? Good, glad to hear it. So I'm Jen Bell, owner of Bell & Funk. We're a marketing firm here in Eugene, and one of our clients is the Oregon Cultural Trust. So I'm here on their behalf this morning. So I have 5 minutes, so I'm gonna make it quick. So quick show of hands. How many of you think we should be investing more of our state taxes in arts and culture? Yes. I thought that might be a fairly popular statement in the room. So I have fantastic news for all of you that just raised your hand. We can do that. You can do that. So if you are unfamiliar with the Oregon Cultural Tax Credit, that is how you direct more state tax dollars to arts and culture. So last year, we are proud to say that we increased the number of people using the cultural tax credit in 1 year by 20%, right? So that means more money for everybody. That's why we had a record year. We raised $5 million, 5.2 actually, last year, and we went from about 9,500 donors to 11,500 across the state. So we're getting there, and the way we did that was we did 180 presentations to boards of directors across the state, and these are 15-minute presentations, and they worked. We had people who have been in this field forever say, I finally get it. I finally get this thing. Many of you have been asked to send out materials on behalf of the Cultural Trust and all those things, and they really didn't kind of get us the results. This presentation gets the results. So over there by the door, sorry about that, is a little jar. And if you are unfamiliar with the cultural tax credit, I would love to talk to you. I would love to talk to your donors. I would love to talk to your friends, whomever, and let them know, because we could be raising a tremendous amount of money. Right now, only about 5% of people that could be using the cultural tax credit are using it. So instead of $5 million, I'm hoping for about $20 million in 3 years. So help me get there. Thank you for the thumbs up. So, you know, these two on the screen just say it all. The other thing I wanted to mention was we have this new beautiful Cultural Trust license plate. I think of it as like a piece of art for your car. So I would encourage you, so when you purchase this plate, a portion of that funding goes, of course, to the Cultural Trust. It was designed by a local artist, Liza Burns, lives here in Eugene, and this thing is like a culture history lesson in a license plate. It is crazy. There are 127 symbols on there that represent different aspects of our cultural heritage in Oregon. So you can go onto the Cultural Trust website and click around on the little numbers. You will learn so much, and they're really fun. So that is it. That is my 5 minutes about the Cultural Trust. I'm not sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jen. I know I'm a big fan of the new artwork. I purchased a poster for my house, and there's definitely some extra pride knowing that the artist is right here from Eugene. This morning, I wanted to take a couple minutes to just fill you in on what the ABAE has been up to for the past year and to make a little bit of announcement. As you arrived, you might have noticed some goodies at your seat. One of the goodies is an artistic sticker that Potter Decal and Sticker created for the ABAE, as well as an adorable sticker of their logo, which is an otter. And if you didn't know, Potter Decal and Sticker is a family-run business that's here in Eugene and has been serving our community since 1923. And if you can see by these amazing stickers, they can really make any project work. So thank you to Potter Decal and Stickers. We also have given you our 2021 annual report. This report outlines the generous foundation and corporate support that we received in the 2021 fiscal year. We are very grateful for these foundations and businesses who continued to support our work when need was great throughout the community. I particularly want to thank the members of our Catalyst Club. The Catalyst Club is a network of business leaders and individuals who are dedicated to supporting the arts. The ABA's work would not be possible without the generous support of our Catalyst Club members. These businesses understand that support for the arts does not just help the arts, but it lifts the whole community. The annual report also outlines some of our favorite projects and moments from throughout the year that I'm going to just share a few with you. Like many of you, we spent last year trying to experiment and find new ways of delivering our programs. For a second year, we were unable to bring a beloved event to you, Arts After Hours, but we still wanted to bring the community a chance to explore all things creative, so we created Arts During Hours. This was a week-long event that featured daily videos created by local artists with activities that you could do from the comfort of your home or office. They were focused on sparking your creativity, and you could do them alone or with your work team. Activities range from poetry to creative coding. I even had a community member tell me they loved the creative coding exercise so much, which was created by Harmonic Laboratories, that they often just kept a tab open on their browser with the digital canvas so they could create whenever they felt stuck or just needed a break from work. All of our videos are available on our YouTube page, so if you want to get into the creative spirit this afternoon, you can go find one and play whenever you want. Also, another highlight is that since July of 2020, we've been partnering with the Lane Arts Council, the Florence Regional Arts Alliance, Minority Voices Theater, and Wordcrafters in Eugene to create a special online space where arts leaders and artists could explore topics impacting the arts community. In these roundtable discussions, attendees had the chance to learn from each other and invited experts. And it was really great to have that time to talk through some of the big challenges that we were facing. We started with webinars covering contingency planning, reopening, audience engagement, and funding. And then in May of 2021, we transitioned to a series addressing diversity, equity, and inclusion. These have been really insightful and impactful sessions, and we actually have a two-part series starting next Tuesday featuring Aisha Taylor. If you're interested in those workshops, the information is on the Lane Arts Council website. The last item that you found at your seat was our 2021 Arts Guide. And while we've been producing the Arts Guide for a few years now, we are exceptionally proud of last year's edition. The Arts Guide helps shine a light on Eugene's arts and culture sector and provides examples of high-impact arts and business partnerships. You might use the guide to discover a new artist, give as a resource to clients or customers, employees that are new to the area, learn about an arts organization you're unfamiliar with. This guide features over 100 local artists and arts organizations. And it was really important to us for this edition that we wanted to highlight as many groups and artists as possible, so participation in the 2021 Arts Guide was free for all arts groups and organizations that wanted to be a part of it, which resulted in it being so robust. We also did a call for artists to design the cover. We selected local artist Dorothy Simons out of 13 submissions, and we have posters of her artwork on sale on our website. There's actually a sample on the back table if you want to see one live. Not only is the Arts Guide a resource for finding out about local arts and culture, but we really wanted to shine examples on high-impact partnerships. So whether that is the Holt Center partnering with Wildcraft Cider Works over the summer, when the Holt Center was shut down, could not be having shows, they partnered with Wildcraft Cider Works and did a concert series in their parking lot. That is partnership and win-win all around. Or Ballet Fantastique, who made several businesses into venues. So they took ballet to the vineyard, they took ballet to the golf course, and that's some great partnership as well. Which leads me to my announcement today, is that today we are opening submissions for the 2022 Arts Guide, and we are able to keep it free of charge again. We are also opening today the call to artists to design the cover. Information about both of these opportunities are available on our calendar page on our website. And I'm so excited to see what this year's guide turns out to be. We plan to publish it in February of 2022. I recently came across this quote by Helen Keller that says, "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much." I think as our community is in the beginning stages of emerging from this time apart, it's really critical to think about all the ways we can support each other. This is the time of year when we begin to see shop local messages, and I'd like to encourage all of you to think about how you can uplift our local arts and business community. Could you hire a local musician to play at a holiday party, or find a Spotify playlist of a local artist to share? Could you give gift cards to a local venue to clients and employees? Could you buy something from an artist that you find in the Arts Guide? As an arts organization, how could you help local businesses bring customers back into retail spaces? There are so many ways that we can help each other out and build a thriving community at the same time. Again, I want to thank everybody so much who supported the ABAE this year and participated in our events. Thank you. We are so delighted to have some talented performers joining us now to provide this morning's spotlight performance. We are about to be treated to a performance by Michael Moloi and Joshua Caraco. Their performance, titled Caira, meaning peace, is a collaboration of Gumboot dance, which originated in South African mines, as a mean of communication. Joshua will be playing an instrument called the Kora from West Africa, and together they are going to tell the story of South African mine workers. Please join me in welcoming Michael and Joshua to the stage.
Good morning. My grandmother used to wake me up early in the morning so I can listen to birds and creatures big and small. She'll open the windows and open the doors. 3 o'clock to be precise. This is very important for me to connect with nature and smell the early breeze. I was so lucky to listen closely to 1 or 2 sound. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to share with you the sound of South African nature's finest. And then my grandmother, my grandfather, they decided that their rural areas was too rural for them. They wanted to move into the city, picking up all their bags and 9 of their children to Johannesburg right at the peak of apartheid. Yes, it happened. That's a story of gold, sound, diamond, and steel. Many men gathered to create an industrial strength, more than 16 hours a day working in the dark. Their feet were chained like savage, like a dog on a leash in a fight, and that led to bruises, and that led to infection, and that led to rotten skin. This is the story of a village African man who left their homeland with a choo-choo train and never returned. Sometimes I can hear their voices. I can hear their sound beating like a whip on a flesh. So much pain, so much sadness. Gumboot is a cultural dance what was created in the minds of Johannesburg. Man working underground for many hours without proper clothing. As they dig down in the belly of the earth, the water starts rising up. And the bosses, instead of solving the problem, they gave men the rainbows. Men were not supposed to speak to each other at all times when they work, and they use the rainbows to communicate like calling codes. For an example, when the bosses are coming, they will go like this. The bosses were coming. The bosses were coming. The bosses were coming. The bosses are coming. Voila! Every man will know that now the bosses are around. On Saturdays, they will sit around and drink what we call umqombothi. Can everybody say umqombothi? Okay, let me just ask that question one more time in case you didn't get it. Can everyone say umqombothi? Americans. Just joking with you. They'll be drinking umqombothi, an African beer that will get you drunk, full, and stinky too. And on Saturday they all go. The music, the culture, the tradition were now infused to this language that we call the Gumboot today. And they will go like this. That means bring it up a bit. And they will go like this. What? What's that? What? Hey! Kora, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. The English have brought us many ways to praise our ancestors in foreign town. And the French have changed the speech in foreign sound. But when we sing and dance, everything comes from within. We remember who we are. We connect to our ancestors and our people. We remember our name. Le kholo kwa le kontwana le hlaba go ka le mao ke ise morena ga shaba mona morena ke hlabile tshela le rako le metsi a hlabola di bete ke re hey se sa ikhophula phela ka jalo ka re nna shaba la mazango ma se ikhophula se sa phezulu phela ba nqeshe but kipa what. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Tumelo Michael Moloi. All the way from Johannesburg, South Africa, via 11 years in Las Vegas in Cirque du Soleil. Now living on a farm in Junction City. This is not a joke. I won a lottery ticket in a performing partner here, so let's support this so it stays here. This instrument I'm playing is called Kora. It's a 21-stringed West African harp lute of the Manding people. So it actually comes from places farther away from South Africa, where Michael's from, than we are from New York City. So this is countries like Senegal and Mali and the Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry. Has a gourd and a cowskin stretched over it, and fishing line for strings. So this is not fully a traditional thing here exactly. It's a cultural exchange and a cultural conversation that we hope you all participate in. And it's part of a much larger thing we are working on. And you can hear Michael tell his stories of apartheid South Africa and how they relate to, the civil rights movement and the modern Black Lives Matter movement, and how those are conversations that are still going on, how even as we are maybe thinking about getting booster shots, less than 5% of the continent of Africa has received their doses of the vaccine. So anyway, cultural conversation we hope you all participate in. And the last song we're going to play is based on a traditional Manding song called Caira, which means peace. So it's a conversation, and we hope you engage in it with us. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Joshua Caraco.
Let's give another round of applause for that inspiring performance. I would also like to thank Columbia Bank, who is this morning's performance sponsor. With no further ado, let's move on to our keynote speaker. We could not be more thrilled this morning to have with us Meg Bostrom. Meg is a veteran communications strategist and co-founder of the Topos Partnership. She brings a unique perspective resulting from her experience as a communicator, public opinion analyst, advertising executive, and political consultant. She has researched public opinion on and analyzed communication strategies on a wide variety of issues, including arts and culture. Today, she will be giving a presentation titled "Through Art, We Thrive." Please welcome Meg Bostrom.
Good morning. Oh, thank you so much. Wow, that was such an amazing performance. I am so honored, so grateful to be here right now in this place and this time. You know, in a lot of ways, I'm a really unlikely speaker for this series. I'm not an artist. I'm not a business owner here in Eugene. In fact, I've only recently become an Oregonian. I moved to this beautiful state and welcoming town just 6 months ago. So what do I have to offer? Why am I here? Well, I and my consulting group, the Topos Partnership, specialize in understanding why people think the way they do, and then how to get conversations unstuck. So Thanksgiving is right around the corner, right? I have many, many memories of listening to arguments around the dinner table. Don't we all? Uncle Frank complaining loudly about something or other in the news. Not really interested in hearing what anybody else has to say. We all have those frustrating experiences, right? Where the person we're talking with seems absolutely impossible to reason with. We all have our Uncle Franks. A little secret, they're thinking the same thing about us. And the arts get caught in this kind of conflict too. For a very, very long time, public funding for the arts has been under attack. Here's a couple of oldie but goodie quotes talking about the wastefulness of funding for the arts. Hopefully you aren't stuck in conversations that are quite this extreme, but you may still find yourself befuddled about why a friend or colleague won't lend support for a public art effort, or why they're reluctant to join an alliance like this one. You want to share your enthusiasm, but find yourself getting a lukewarm response. So today we're going to talk a little bit about why that is, why the Uncle Franks are thinking about this issue and the way they are when it comes to the arts, and how to have a rewarding, productive conversation that builds people's enthusiasm for the arts as a public good. So we're going to come full circle back to what Jen was talking about at the start, how we reach that objective of creating enthusiasm for the arts as a public good. So before we talk about the arts, let's talk about brains. Walter Lippmann famously observed, for the most part, we do not first see and define. We define first and then see. Our brains try to be efficient. We have heuristics or routines that we rely on to make sense of the world. We have frames that constrain our view, mental models that tell us simple ways about how things work, and so on. We quickly decide what something is about, and then we move on. Every now and then we're confronted with an idea that disrupts this pattern. So for example, lots of folks talk about raising taxes on billionaires, but how come nobody's talking about why we have billionaires in the first place? Or the Pope is a bachelor, right? The Pope is a bachelor. Did your brain just kind of get startled for a second there? Those things don't fit together? So at Topos, we study what we call the cultural common sense, ideas that are so pervasive and so deeply held that they don't sound like persuasion. They just sound like common sense, and yet they have power to shape our behavior. It's at this level that we wrestle for a shift in perspective and action. So take racism. Let's jump right into the deep end here. Many people across race default to thinking of racism as being solely about interpersonal interactions. And of course, that's very real and very significant. But that default or common sense way of thinking about that obstacle removes our ability to see systemic and structural forces in play and makes it more difficult for people to see why policy change is necessary to address racial disparities. So now let's shift to the arts. Same brain, new issue. We have similarly default common sense ways of thinking that shape how people understand our collective responsibility for the arts. By the way, I'm going to set collective responsibility or collective action for the arts as the goal for this conversation. Jen set the stage for that at the beginning, and that's exactly right. If you want to ask the attractive person next to you to go to a concert, that's great, that's on you. But my goal is to get us thinking about how to build broad and deep support for the arts as a public good. So, what are we up against? It's really easy right now to think that the arts are inconsequential, or at least low on our list of public priorities. We're living in extraordinary times, right? A global pandemic, racial conflict, economic precarity, extreme polarization. It seems like we're barely holding things together. The arts may seem like a luxury we can't afford right now. But in this room, we know the truth is quite the opposite. We know that it is through the arts that we heal a broken spirit in society, and through the arts that we thrive. And yet, as important as the arts are, public funding for the arts is a mere $4 per person and has decreased substantially over the last 20 years. Great to hear that it's a different trend here in this wonderful town. My firm has studied why that is and what we can all do to build public will for the arts, whether we're talking about arts funding, supporting the arts in education, or even talking with other business owners about why their support for the arts matters. You get it. You're here because you believe the arts matter. Every person in this room may have a different reason for supporting the arts, but let's talk about those who don't get it and why. Everybody has a fondness for the arts. That's not the issue. Making a case for the arts based on how much we enjoy it or how much we admire artists is unlikely to strengthen collective action for the arts, because the issue is whether or not people see the arts as a public good that deserves public support. So when there's opposition to the arts, it's at that level. Even those who love the arts, who find the arts to be transformational, don't necessarily see collective responsibility for the arts, a shared stake to ensure the arts are available to all. The obstacles are at the level of the cultural common sense, the pervasive hidden ideas of which we aren't necessarily aware. So at Topos, we've conducted quite a bit of ethnographic research on the arts. We meet people in cafes and parks and barbershops and talk with them at length. We follow them around the Metropolitan Museum in New York and observe what they do. And we've learned a few things about the mindset or common sense ideas that shape people's perceptions. So fundamentally, our barrier is that people default to thinking of the arts as private. Why? Well, first, our relationship to the arts is driven by individual experience. The experience is about me and that music, or contemplating that painting, and so on. It's also driven by individual preference. Some people like music, other people like dance, paintings, and so on. To each his own is inconsistent with collective or shared stakes. A second common sense understanding is that the arts are about entertainment. Primarily, that's how people see the arts, entertainment. They are. But entertainment isn't essential or shared like roads or utilities or healthcare. Entertainment is why that silly quote I showed you earlier in the presentation talked about pro wrestling. So it flows from that art is a good to be purchased. We each have experience buying tickets for a performance or a museum and so on. So it's easy to conclude that it's unfortunate if some can't afford art, just like it's unfortunate if someone can't afford a TV or stereo. Lastly, the term the arts is typically assumed to mean fine art galleries, opera, ballet. So the term itself can easily be a barrier for positioning art as highbrow for an elite and wealthy few who like that sort of thing. Now, we can debate with people about each of these obstacles, but we probably won't change their perspective, because all of these things sound like simple common sense. It's really tough to dislodge these ideas from the brain. But we can shift the conversation to a different terrain with new common sense ideas that make collective action for art more apparent. Common sense ideas that shift our view from the arts as private to the arts as public. The reality is that the arts have ripple effects far beyond the individual, but people don't think about those ripple effects very often. Two of these effects, once presented, are powerful, common sense reminders of why the arts matter to all of us collectively. So let's talk about two of those. One is a more connected population, that diverse groups share a common experience, hear new perspectives, understand each other better. This is needed now more than ever as our divided nation needs healing. Second, a vibrant, thriving community and economy. Neighborhoods are more lively, communities are revitalized, tourists, workers, residents are attracted to the area, and so on. What is central to both of these ideas is art as a collective public good that benefits us all, shifting from the individual me to the collective we. So let's talk about each of these in a little more depth. I'll start with vibrant, thriving communities. You're all aware of the economic impact studies when it comes to the arts. You've seen economic impact right here in Eugene. While valid and important, we have a compelling case that goes well beyond just dollars and cents. The arts create communities that we want to live, work, and play in. Dollars are important, but it's also about quality of life. A well-placed theater or gallery can revitalize a struggling neighborhood. A thriving arts scene brings life to a town that attracts business, workers, residents, tourists. These are the places people want to be. And not just in the cities. According to Americans for the Arts, 2/3 of rural business leaders report that arts and entertainment are vital to attracting and retaining population, providing the talent the businesses need to thrive. It's about well-being, quality of life, not just dollars and cents. So there's a different effect of the arts that I want to touch on briefly. One that is particularly important in our broken world, and that's the unique ability of the arts to share common experiences, hear new perspectives, and help us understand each other better. This ability to provide connection is needed now more than ever. According to a national survey in 2018 by Americans for the Arts, vast majorities of Americans believe, when presented with the idea, that the arts provide a positive experience in a troubled world, that arts help people understand other cultures better, and that the arts unify us across age, race, and ethnicity. 4 in 10 even admit that they've changed an opinion on the arts, and it's really, really hard to get people to admit that they've changed their mind. So let's square this with what I talked about a minute ago. Our research, when we talk at length with people, shows that most folks default to patterns of thinking of the arts as private, as individual, as entertainment, right? And yet, when presented with these ideas, when touching on the shared benefits, people readily embrace the power of the arts to create this sense of connection and understanding and healing. We need to talk about this more if we want to build broader, deeper public will for the arts. So for example, the North Shore Community Development Organization in Salem, Massachusetts, organized within a community that is historically low income, a community called The Point, to identify the challenges that residents see. And that effort found that residents see reducing the stigma of living in their neighborhood as one of the highest priorities. The neighborhood of The Point has had a negative image, and its residents saw that negative image distancing them from other neighborhoods. It was viewed as harming young people who were embarrassed to live in that neighborhood. And it's a welcoming, family-friendly neighborhood that was being held back by a negative stigma. So art, done in an equitable way that wouldn't displace residents, was the solution. In 2017, they launched the Punto Urban Art Museum, 75 murals within a 3-block radius. Half of the artists are among the most talented in the world, the other half are local artists. And the results have been dramatic. The image in the media shifted. The tourism industry and major art institutions embrace the neighborhood now. Small business owners report a measurable improvement. And so it's definitely more thriving. But connection is the real win here. The neighborhood isn't shunned or facing the negative stigma it used to. Residents have pride in their home. Parents talk excitedly about how their kids reference the murals as where they live or where family members live. So here's what I hope you take away from our conversation this morning. Each of us has the power in our own way to expand public support for the arts. When we share what we already know to be true, that art has ripple effects beyond individual impact, that art is essential to the vibrant, thriving communities we all want to live in, that art can heal and unify a divided world, then we lay a foundation of understanding of art as a public good that we all share responsibility for. And as these quotes from our research show, that foundation of understanding helps people to see the arts as a public good that we all benefit from and we all have a responsibility to nurture. We have the opportunity here to change the world one conversation at a time. Thank you all so much for giving me time today to share these ideas.
Well, everyone, that brings us to the end of our program this morning. I want to thank again our speakers and our performers for making this morning so memorable. And I have a few extra thank yous, one to the Terrell Group, one to the Holtzetter staff here, the tech crew, and Kim and Nathan, to Diana Wells, Roxana Humphreys-Moreno, and Michelle Zachary from the Eugene Chamber of Commerce, and to Mark Stern from Carte Blanche Caterers. And I want to thank each and every one of you for attending and championing the arts. It is Friday in Eugene, and there is a ton of arts and culture happening this weekend, including tonight here at the Holt Center with the ballet. It is First Friday Art Walk. Get out there, enjoy the arts this weekend, and also don't forget your breakfast, which is up in the mezzanine. Thank you all so much for being here. Have a great day.